to order. Let's do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining this morning. We have a quorum. I know we're waiting for a couple people trying to join, and we'll see if we can get them in. I don't believe, Chanel, there was any hearings from or comments from citizens,
Nope, we did not receive any in the box, in the mail.
but for those of you that are listening, please do. If you have comments, let us know. We want to hear what you have to say, and hopefully some good things, and some things we can work on both. Chairman update, I missed, unfortunately, the driver appreciation week last week. I was out of town, but I hear that was well, and hopefully everyone appreciated it, and would like to say that we appreciate all the hard work that everyone in the organization is doing. It's hopefully we've got past the worst of COVID. That was a tough couple of years, and we'll continue to do so. I know we're still putting masks on in the buses and facilities, right? But so thanks for everyone, and we really do appreciate all the hard work for our community-facing employees. Why don't we go to action items? So the first action item is approval of the board minutes. The minutes are in your package. Hopefully you've had a chance to read them and look at them. They looked okay to me, so I would move that we approve them, but I need a second.
Second.
All right, thank you. Probably moved and seconded. Any questions? All right, then let's go ahead and vote. I think that's a voice.
Yes, it's a voice vote.
I need your hand signal. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed say right. Okay.
Rod is in.
Rod, are you on?
I am. Sorry for the delay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're happy to hear from you. You want to take us through?
It's nice to be heard from.
So you want to go to the finance committee?
Sure. We have one action item, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so Cindy will give a report later on our P&L balance sheet, but I can't really. Oh, here we go. We have one action item that needs voted on today, which is providing Daryl and/or his designee with the ability to apply for funding from the state, or this is for the state, if I'm not mistaken, federal, or any grant that's federal, state, or local funds, and that's with no restrictions on how much. It's us giving them permission to go after all the resources that we can. So if you want, I can read this, but essentially that's what it is.
I think we're okay. It was, I think, intended to be on a consent agenda, correct?
Mhm.
That's right. So I think we go ahead and vote on it unless there's.
Yep. I move to approve the motion to approve filing 2022 grant applications.
Thanks, Glenn. Okay, probably moved and seconded. Any questions? Other than I know we haven't gotten any this week yet. Positive week last week. So is this a voice or a?
This is actually a roll call.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Burdon,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Sheets,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
The resolution has been approved.
All right, that's great. And obviously a lot of great work going on there and important. I know we talked last week about our 10-year projections and with some gaps. And so I think we filled a big part of that last week, which is terrific, and continue to look for ways to do that so we can invest in the Green Bay Metro program and all the details that will be coming up. So that is really good. I don't think, Cindy, we're not going to talk hedging today, are we? Not specifically. So I know that's probably an issue that's on people's mind as oil prices have gone up and down. We're covered for about a year and a half out.
A little more than that.
A little more than that, minutes declines, but so hopefully by the time we're out of those hedges, the prices will be back down. So just so everyone understands, we're pretty well covered fuel wise for the next year plus. And so that's nice as the cost has gone up so high.
Yeah, we're right now paying under $2 a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take $2 a gallon.
There you go. Wish we bought more, but we can talk about it. Okay. Blake.
Thank you very much. We had a good planning and ops meeting with a lot of good news. Some I imagine will be shared with us later. We had an update on the mobility on demand work, and we should be hearing much more about that in the months to come. So that was just an update on the work that's going on there. Keep an eye on ridership. We did have more missed trips than we had hoped for last month, and I know staff and board continue to watch that, and we are definitely headed in the right direction. And some of the large numbers were on particular days in the last month. So if we don't have those particular days, the numbers should be coming down even more. We had 5 action items. They are all on the consent agenda. I'll just go through them real quick. So we have appointments to the Everybody Rides Metro Board, and thanks for all the people willing to serve and work on that, including Craig. We have the authorization to submit our Title VI program, which is something that we have to do. So there was not a lot of debate around that, although it is incredibly important work, and it's great that the team continues to work hard on that.
Yeah, and it's that's in the packet, so people have a chance to look at it. It's quite a document.
It's quite a document, but worth spending some time with. We have procurement of motor oil. This actually did go up over previous years. We are not as hedged on motor oil, and then we've also increased the need. So both volume increase and price increases there, but determined to be reasonable. We are purchasing a couple of boom lifts that are necessary for our facilities. And the 5th one is a garage study to evaluate our facilities and our operations going forward. So I would move that we approve all 5 on the consent agenda.
Anyone want a second?
I would second it with the comment. I don't know if it's appropriate, but when you present the ERM slate, would you please identify the agency or agent that they represent?
We can do that. We'll send out an email with all of the people that are on the board, the members of the board with the agencies they represent. We'll do that.
I thought, is that not
That
on
would be
the?
appropriate. That would be appropriate so that the community can see that as well.
I think it's on the. I think it's in here.
I see it on our, right. Thank you. But I second it.
Okay. Probably moved and seconded. Any questions? Not previously raised. Okay. Chanel.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Sheets,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Kassi,
Yes.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
and Ms. Burdine.
Yes.
Okay, the motion and the resolutions were approved.
Agenda passed. Any other? Okay, thank you. And lots going on, right? It's been an exciting year as we continue to go deeper into reinventing Metro with some of the sexier parts, things like mobility on demand that I know everybody gets fired up over. So looking forward to that. The infrastructure bike and right-of-way committee met as well. I don't believe Heidi's on, so I thought you were going to take us through that.
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So last year, the board approved the program for the Transit Infrastructure Fund, and which included approving the guidelines that the municipalities will have to follow in submitting their applications. Part of the agreement is that any changes to the guidelines document have to be approved by the board. And since we finished round one of the applications and the awarding and so on, the consultants and us, the team here, we've been going through the document, trying to make adjustments to, keep improving the program, especially incorporating some of the lessons learned through the, round one. And this is what you're seeing here is just a summary of the cardinal changes that we made to the document. We don't want to, bother you with all the minor changes, edits, formatting, and so on. The cardinal changes, and I'll go over these, and please stop me if you have any questions. So in addition to these minor, edits, formatting, and so on, one of the things that we added, and by the way, the column on the left represents what's in the existing document that we used for last year. The column on the right are the proposed changes. So one of the things that we noticed through round one applications is in some cases there were projects where they're doing some roadway improvements, and there's a bus stop that's about 150, 200 feet away from their project, but they're not touching the bus stop to enhance it, to improve it, or make connections to it. So we're adding new language in the guidelines that any project that's close to a bus stop, then it has to include connectivity to these bus stops and make certain improvements to them. So that's one of the main changes to the document. The other is
question on that. So the it has to be on a bus route already, right? So if you're, I guess, so if the area of improvement is further, doesn't include a bus stop, but it would be on the way to a bus stop, how do you define this?
Yeah, so if it's within reasonable distance, so let's take an example that an infrastructure project is about doing some improvement to an intersection, and we have a bus stop that's about 200 feet north of that intersection, and the proposed project does not include any connectivity to that bus stop to improve the sidewalk or curb cuts or whatever, then we need them to include that. So that they're also not only improving the roadway, but they're also improving the bus infrastructure as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to, if they're included in a, so if you're on a, if you could get a situation where the bus stop is outside the municipality, but the sidewalks would get you closer to the bus stop. I get that. I think I understand what you're trying to get to. I'm trying to decide if this language is going to get in the way of that or not, but
yeah.
Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. So the idea here is they're doing a project. The bus stop is right there. And, we have some bus stops where there literally is no sidewalk.
Yeah.
We want them to include that bus stop in their project.
If they're already doing a sidewalk, we're not telling them they have to include a sidewalk, this language.
Yes.
But you know what I'm saying? So if the bus stop is within the actual zone, and you're doing a sidewalk, the sidewalk has to be to the bus stop. That's
Yes.
all. Okay. Pretty niche, but okay.
Yeah. The next item.
Within it all last year.
Yeah, because we ran into that particular case last year in one of the projects, and actually we talked to them and we added, some extra money for them so that they would connect and improve that bus stop, which was, pretty close to their project, and they agreed to that. So for the next one, signal improvement technology, we just added additional language to make it more general. So it's not about signal, traffic signals, but it's about intelligent transportation systems, which includes signal priority. It could include, loop detectors and whatever else that would improve transportation as part of that project. The next one, ineligible costs, we just expanded on that to make it more clear as to what costs are not eligible for the grant. We've had several projects, as you recall, where we had to reduce their amount because they included things that were not eligible, such as, planning, design, land acquisition, and so on. So we just added, expanded on this just to make it very clear to what is not considered eligible cost. The next one, could you scroll down just, yep, thank you very much. This is, again, just, we added language to encourage the applicants to provide more of local match. So we just, change the language that more points will be awarded for higher local match money. Next one, please. This is a new addition to the document. Just to avoid any issues down the road when jurisdictions start to implement these projects, because as we all know, construction projects almost never go to schedule. There's always some delays because of uncertainties and so on. But just to have more control on this, we're adding language that any delays on any particular project for which they're receiving TIF money, that's going to impact the scoring of future projects for the same municipality. So we're taking their history into consideration when we score future projects. Again, just to make sure that they get things done in time and withdrawing the money on time and so on. The next two bullets are kind of related, and we didn't have that language in the existing guidelines, but basically we want the applicants to disclose all funding that they have for that particular project. And should we, during the evaluation, find out that they actually have more money set aside for that project than they've disclosed, then we have the right to reduce their scoring, so we have the right to reduce their scores or the amount of funds based on how much they actually have set aside. Just to be fair to everybody else. We don't want to give somebody too much money if they have it and deprive other communities who may not have enough money.
Well, and part of this, right, is designed to try to leverage these funds to get more funds into the region from the state and the feds. So that's a nice aspect to it too, as opposed to replacing those funds. Right?
Exactly. The next one, which is the table for the scoring, we kind of try to simplify the scoring. The original table, which is on the left, we borrowed that from the Integrating Committee Guidelines document. And for a particular criterion, the scoring could be, multiples of 2. It could be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Another criterion could be 0, 5, and 10, or so different ratings schemes. So we try to simplify that and normalize it to be 0s to 10s, from 0 to 10 for all of the criteria. The multipliers were also changed to weight. However, they still have the same weight, overall weight for that particular criterion. So the scheme changed, but the weight of each criterion did not really change by much, if any. It just to make it easier and simpler for the evaluation committee to evaluate and score the projects moving forward. The next two, the last two items there, criterion 1, physical condition, that was modified because if you look at the table above that, criterion 9 ban is crossed out. So we took that out because it really didn't have much impact on round 1 projects. And ban meaning if a particular infrastructure is banned from use because it's in a really bad shape, it's dangerous, so it's banned from use. We incorporated that into criterion 1. So if a project is considered failed or banned, then it'll get the highest score for that criterion, physical condition. So we did eliminate ban as a criterion by itself, but got incorporated in the first one. Similarly, for the matching funds, that was also adjusted to accommodate the levy and fees. Again, if a municipality has, levied some fees or some taxes for that particular project, instead of having this as a criterion by itself, we incorporate that into the matching funds. And Craig, those were two good suggestions. So thank you for suggesting these changes.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the the cardinal changes. Be happy to answer any questions.
One, so I guess you said, before we had, you say 0 to 10 scales, but really all those numbers aren't available in each one. If I look at the details behind how you would award them, right? Does that make sense?
I didn't get that, Craig. I'm sorry.
So I think, if you pick, for instance, sorry, one of the categories, sorry, going back to the details. Before we had like, it was 0 to 25, there was very specific things that called out each, like the score couldn't be 24, it could be 25, 20, and I think you've done the same thing here, right? There's specific criteria to get you to the numbers, but not all the numbers would be available 1 through 10.
Hey, Sharon, hold on, let me.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay. So I get it. I don't know if it's any simpler, but I follow. Okay, because I think we want to clearly delineate, a real issue versus not. And I think sometimes it gets hard to say what's a 1 versus a 2 versus, if you spread that out a little bit better, I think it's easier. So.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think, for the board, if you remember, we put this together and we went through the first time. And so I appreciate that Alette and team are going through and saying, these are things that, maybe we didn't anticipate. And now that'll make it work smoother and make it easier both for the applicants and for the scoring. So I appreciate that work.
Thank you.
Yeah, Caleb, I was trying to understand the difference between the weight and multiply.
So based on the whichever criterion, so let's say physical condition. If the physical condition of that infrastructure for which they're asking, for funds is in a pretty good shape, then obviously it's going to get a very low score, right? So let's say 2 or 3. The worse it is, the higher points it will get. But then the multiplier is used just as a weight for that particular criterion. Basically in relation to the rest of the program. Physical condition is a big driver of making decision, whether to give money for this project and how critical it is. And that's why, it has one of the highest multipliers. There are different ways of doing it. Instead of, going from 0 to 25 as originally was, it could have been from 0 to 150.
So, yeah, Larry, I think what it's trying to say, before it would have been 25, and that could have been multiplied by 5. So you could have scored 125 points in physical condition, which was about 20% of the total number of points available.
Yes.
They're just saying, okay, instead of doing it that way, you'll get all the scores will be 0 to 10, but you'll get 20% of the weight would be on that particular score. So it would count for 1/5 of the weighted criteria. So it's sort of, to the scoring team, it feels simpler, I think, if everything's on a 1 to 10 scale, but it has the same effect of what are the things that matter most in the ultimate answer.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to get an understanding. It's kind of new to me so I thank you guys for your efforts, but I also want to comment on the website, the Go Metro website, where you got all the recipients listed by, I guess, community, and we can actually go on there and see when that project is coming up for bid. We can also see, when the bids are due and when they're going to open the bid. So been able to relate that information to our team in the building trade. So if they want to see if they got contractors that wants to bid on this work, it's available. So thank you for putting that information on the Go Metro website.
Thank you. And based on these changes, the proposed changes, the call for projects will be April 1st, next month, and the projects will be due June 30th, just like we did last year.
And I think the other thing to note, right, is we know we've received more in sales tax than we expected for the year. And so that's let us fund, I believe, Khaled, right, the full emergency
Yes.
reserve. So if folks remember from the document that we could take up to 5% of they're not equal to 5% of the previous year's number that could be set aside in case something happened during the year, a bridge collapsed or something, some catastrophic event where there would be funds available to the community to rapidly address it. Has to be approved by the integrated committee, et cetera, still, but slightly different process. But I think it's nice we have those funds available, and God forbid something like that occurs. Any questions for Khaled besides mine? No. Okay. Are we going to use the same folks to help support us?
Yes.
Okay.
And we spent a lot less than we thought we spend on the admin side, which also is that money stays in the fund as well. So yes, we're going to use the same two teams.
Yeah, so we're by rule here, we're allowed to use up to 3% for the administration of it. I think we use probably less than 1%.
Less than 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with the investment return we're getting on this now, folks, remember that discussion, we're actually, contributing more back into the fund. So all good. Let's keep them coming. So there's no action item here still, or is there one to approve this?
Just to approve it, yes.
Okay. Then I would move that we approve the language as suggested here in this document by Khaled.
Second.
All right, probably moved and seconded twice. Chanel?
Roll call. Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
Ms. Burdine, Ms. Burdine. Not hearing you guys.
We couldn't hear you, Chanel, if you were.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
yes.
sorry. I said, Ms. Burdine,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie, Mr. Cassie,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Sheets,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot. I think the other thing I want to monitor, make sure is we're getting these bids in, right? Our concern originally was that we weren't going to get a broad, that was going to come from, only certain sectors of the county, and we're thrilled to get requests from across the county, and so let's make sure we're kind of monitoring. Hopefully that same thing is doing, and if not, we're communicating that folks know these funds are available to apply for.
Yeah, so we'll be issuing a press release that the board approved, the new guidelines, and then April 1st we'll make a call for projects. And with working with our consultants, just like we did last year, we'll have a call to all municipalities, again, just to make sure that they know about it and if they have any questions, and there'll be a follow-up meeting with them as well.
Great, that's great. So thank you, appreciate it. I know the fun stuff's just getting started there.
Yes.
Let's see, okay, just a brief from a labor standpoint, the discussions with Access continue to move ahead with that bargaining unit. I believe mediation is scheduled for the 30th and 31st.
31st, 2 days next week.
I think it's the 30th and 21st in the document. So I think we know what that means. So looking forward to getting that moving, and certainly we laid a great foundation with the agreements on the fixed route side, so hopefully that will continue to move smoothly. Working with the mediator we worked with before, hopefully that helps speed things up as well. We did have a brief executive committee meeting with Blake, Allison. Rod wasn't able to make it, myself this morning, just to talk about a couple of things, but that was all in executive session, so can answer questions about things that were generally discussed, but not specifics, if anybody has them. Otherwise, let's go on to financial reports.
Good morning, everyone. What you're seeing here is financial reports for the 2 months ending February 28th. Operating surplus before adjustments was $5.9 million for the month and $6.8 million for the year. Capital revenue was recorded to offset the operating surplus to build the capital reserve. A total revenue of $16.4 million for the month was favorable to budget by $5.1 million or 45.4%. And our year-to-date total revenue of $28.2 million was $4.8 million favorable year-to-date or 20.5%. So focusing on the revenue, our key drivers, what you see there where it says ARP comp, that is the American Rescue Plan competitive funds that we were just awarded. The $62.3 million of additional assistance funding from that stimulus fund. The competitive grant was only awarded to 2 transit agencies in Ohio. The additional stimulus revenue will be spread over the 21 months ending September 2023. The February revenue of $5.4 million is the combined revenue for January and February. Our fare revenue was slightly unfavorable to budget by about $30,000 or 3.5% for the month. Our February ridership was up compared to January, which had been impacted significantly when the Omicron variant spiked in the region. Looking at our CPS contract as a result of the estimated credit, which is about $2.1 million due to CPS for the unused passes, the CPS revenue was unfavorable to budget for the month by $181,000 or 9.7%. We will continue to monitor the passes for the remainder of the year and credit CPS for the total of the unused passes by the end of the school year.
Cindy?
Yes.
Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think that the ridership, the prior year column doesn't look right to me versus what we was our ridership wasn't down 300,000 on the month, but year on year.
I will have to take a look at that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
If it's incorrect, we'll resend that out.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
It would be up for.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think to double check those numbers, I think that's inconsistent with some of the other charts I've seen. So I think that
I will take a look.
Yeah.
Now that is a prior year to date that we're looking at, not a month, just so you know on that.
CPS.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can't see it because it's.
So that's the disconnect, but I will double check it, but I believe that is correct, but that is a prior.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that was a 1 month thing. That's my bad. Sorry.
All right.
The way your videos were blocking the year-to-date numbers, so I could.
Okay. So, yeah, I can always, it's always worth checking. Thank you for that, though. Any other questions on revenue? So I'm going to move on to expenses. Our total expenses for the month was a total of $10.5 million, and it was favorable to budget slightly by $0.8 million or 7.1%. It looks slight when it's in millions. Year to date, total expense of $21.4 million was favorable to budget by $2 million or 8.7%. I'm sorry. Is there a question, or I'm just hearing a lot of feedback? All right.
I don't.
Move on, I believe. The key drivers for our total expense, wages and benefits favorable to budget by 325,000 or 4%, due to favorable wages and wage-related benefits, primarily from operator and maintenance wages. Fuel and lubricants favorable to budget by 123,000 or 27.8% as a result of favorable price, lower miles compared to budget. No, that was driven by the missed trips and our favorable miles per gallon. The favorable price, we've mentioned it before in this meeting, our hedging. We are 9% hedged for 2022. The other section, which is favorable to budget by 423,000 or 15%, and that was due to mostly timing of our outsourced services compared to budget and our training expense. All of these will be looked at when we do our forecast, which we'll be presenting next month. Any questions on expenses or anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for my confusion there.
Oh, no worries. That's always good. Questions.
Okay,
Ready for me?
we're ready for you.
I'd like to say we couldn't be more excited or proud of the fact that through the last 2 years, we've had to make some seriously difficult decisions. And the benefits from those difficult decisions seem to be coming in. We're really proud to say that within the last week and a half, we received 3 grants. We received a $62.3 million American Rescue Act, and it was a grant that we applied for. Only one other system in Ohio got a grant, and they got just under $14 million. We got the highest dollar amount. We were number eight in the highest dollar amount in the country of this grant. So we're really proud of that. Would like to thank the FTA and all the hard work from Senator Brown and the delegation for really understanding that we're doing something very special here in our region and rewarding us for what we're doing here in our region. And then a few days later, we were awarded $10.1 million from the Bus and Bus Facilities Grant to update our fleet. And then we also have an earmark that we were awarded for $3.3 million for our bus stop infrastructure enhancement project. So you will see us begin to change our bus stops and what our bus stops look like, and things that are at our bus stops, the structures, the way they look. So we're really excited about all 3 of those grants that we heard about within the last couple of weeks. We've got a couple more from last year that we have yet to hear about, as well as the ones that we're applying for this year.
So a couple questions, just so we have 28 shelters already in order, so that won't affect those, right?
We actually have 50.
Okay, so 28.
Yes, we received,
so
yes.
that obviously doesn't change those. So it's after that 50 that we're gonna.
Yes.
Okay, and then the zero emission vehicles.
Yes.
So we have to decide what kind of vehicles we're buying by the time we use that money, right?
Yes.
When are we supposed to spend that money for? What year's bus purchase?
So we can start spending it next year. We're doing a whole strategy of what we're doing. Once that strategy is done, we'll then start deciding when we start moving in the zero emission vehicles, and based on what they are, what other partners, Duke or what other partners we bring in to help set that up. At some point in time in the near future, we'll come back to the board. We'll talk about what the strategy is. We'll talk about our federal grants and even the grants that we have that are diesel grants. Should we decide to move in another direction, we will be reaching back out to the FTA, asking them if we can make some adjustments if we want to move our zero emission vehicles up further than where they are. This particular grant is both zero emission vehicles and diesel vehicles.
Okay.
It is both.
I thought at a high level, we said we didn't want to buy any more diesel. I thought that was the general direction.
Yeah, we are not ready to make that decision yet. We will let our strategy make those decisions for us. We'll bring that back to the board for the board to approve our strategy, and then we'll start making the move to zero emission vehicles. So we won't be buying vehicles with this particular grant until after that strategy is done, and we bring that back to the board. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll just be on record to say if it's diesel buses, you're gonna have a hard time getting my support. But let's
Okay.
talk a little bit.
Same. I'm gonna second that.
Okay, so we haven't decided what zero emission vehicles we're going.
Right, no, I know, that's not.
We're gonna do that first, and then we'll start asking permission to make.
Yeah, no, I get it. So all my, sorry, this is hard, but that I don't want us to keep the strategy going for 40 years while we keep buying diesel buses. That's all.
Absolutely not. Before we place our next order for buses, the strategy should be done. I'm not saying that our next order for buses will be zero emission because we've got to update our facilities as well.
Yeah.
And we can't fall behind in replacing our fleet, but we'll bring that strategy to the board.
Yeah, right.
Facility study that we just approved today is part of building that strategy.
Yes.
So we know what type of vehicles we can support as we move towards zero emissions.
Yes, and we're also not doing this in a vacuum. We're working this with Tank as well as Butler County, and we've had meetings with the city and the county and other public, private agencies as well to talk about what zero emission looks like in our region. So we're being very inclusive in how we move forward and where to charge vehicles, be it hydrogen or natural gas, compressed natural gas or electric. So we're doing it as a region, looking at how we move forward as a region.
And I know your friend Senator Brown, right? About a record as big as they want it. They don't
Yes.
want it, they want only low or zero emission buses too, right? So let's make sure we stay in that right lane with those guys as well. So
And there's also another grant coming out that we'll be applying for in May.
Okay.
For zero emission vehicles as well.
So if this money we can start spending next year, what's the timeline on finalizing that strategy?
It depends on what the strategy comes back at, what type of zero emission vehicles and what partners we have to get together and the time frame for updating our garages. It's something we'll come back to the board once we have some details on.
Right, but I guess I'm asking what's the timeline to get to that point?
Helene, I believe you're on here. I believe the strategy is due within the next couple of months. The report on the strategy. You're on mute if you're talking.
Yeah, I believe it was about 2 to 3 month study.
Okay,
So we're not far out. And we'll be coming back to the board. And when we start talking about which direction our strategy goes in, we'll then start talking about how long it will take to upgrade our garages to be able to fuel these vehicles, not just in our garages, but also on the road as well. Because, you know, be it whatever type of zero emission vehicle it is, you're going to have at the end of the line some way to charge vehicles as well. So we'll talk about all of that once our strategy is set.
The garage study is for 3 months according to the procurement. So starting in March and in June, we should know by July, assuming there's not an interpretive period.
Yes.
Okay.
are we coming back with any bus requests before July?
I believe we have one build going on right now.
Yeah.
Probably placing that order.
It would be before July, if we were gonna get them delivered this year.
Yeah, our infrastructure, our garages and on the road will not be done this year. We'll have conversations with the board.
And in these virtual meetings where some are together and some are not, I know that it's easy to get the conversation dominated here. So I want to make sure if anybody else has any questions or comments on that topic, please weigh in. Okay.
We also had a lot of FaceTime this month with the delegation. We were able to meet with Senator Brown, Senator Portman, Representative Winstrup, and Shabbat's office to discuss the successes that we had in 21 and what we're looking forward to in the future. So as the money begins to flow and the grant opportunities come up, the delegation understands what we're doing and they can help support us in our grant applications. We also had the APTA, American Public Transportation Association, legislative conference in DC last week. And I'm really proud to say, as Senator Brown got up and spoke, he spent some time talking about some of the amazing things that we're doing here in Cincinnati. Also had a chance to meet with the FTA administrator, Nuria Fernandez, and her team to really talk about some of the things that we're doing here and the opportunities coming forward.
I do want to add that when Senator Brown was praising Daryl's fine work, Daryl was off working with the FTA to get money, so he missed all the standing ovations that he would have received.
But I did hear about it, which was really nice. Friday, March the 18th was Transit Employee Appreciation Day. So we spent a lot of time in the garages as well as down at Government Square in Northside, thanking our operators, thanking our employees for all the hard work that they've done. This year it's been extremely special because the last 2 years have been tough because of COVID, and our employees really delivered over the course of the last 2 years during these difficult times. So we're really happy to be able to go out and thank them. Also this week, we're hoping that people that drive cars have had enough of high gas prices. So our service is free. I'm sure either on the radio or television or through social media, you've seen we're going fare free. We're in the buildings of a lot of the businesses downtown and in our region, encouraging them to try the bus. $4 for a day pass versus $4 for a gallon of gas, to really connect people and help them understand the value of public transportation in our region. Opening day, we'll be cheering on the Cincinnati Reds on opening day, April 12th, and we're going to be encouraging all of the fans to leave their cars at home. We'll also be free on opening day, and ask them to take the bus to wherever they're going to enjoy the game, either at their favorite bar, restaurant, or coming down to the game. We'll also be coming back in the planning and ops meeting and sharing with the board how these 2 free days, how they have affected our ridership. Last but not least, save the date to celebrate with us our Employee of the Year during our inaugural Golden Bus Award on April the 21st, 6 to 9 p.m. The invitations will be forthcoming.
All right. Did you have Cincinnati edition last week?
Yes.
Positive feedback from the community?
Very, very positive feedback from the community. I will tell you, they are really, really, really excited about mobility on demand. They're really excited about what we're going to be doing with the paratransit community. And they're excited about the expansion of our service into the county. So we've got a lot of very positive things going on. The feedback has been absolutely amazing. I can't wait until later this year when we roll out phase 2.
Questions for Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl, Larry Thompson, will you be throwing out the first pitch on the opening day?
I will not be throwing out the first pitch. I was asked to be involved in opening day, but I will be out of town on vacation. They moved opening day on me, so I will not be there this year on opening day.
So I guess the Mystics need somebody to step in.
So Craig, if you want.
If anybody wants to join in.
Larry, it has been a very exciting month. I'm really proud of the leadership of this organization. I'm proud of the direction that the board has given us. I'm really proud of the fact that nationally it is being recognized what we're doing, while transit agencies across the country are struggling to keep the service on the street they have, and as they're shrinking their service, we're doing something special here. We are growing our service. We're adding different types of service, and we are moving ahead at lightning speed. So we're really, really, really proud of it. We're really proud of the relationship that we've built with our union, that they've worked with us to make some changes to our union contract to help us hire and retain employees. We're doing something special here, and I am really proud. I'm proud to be a part of this organization.
And we're proud to have you. And I think, the exciting as we get toward this, I don't know, living with COVID, post-COVID, I don't know what the right phrase is, and all this activity happening, it's time to now start getting more folks back on the bus.
That's right.
And I think the work this week,
Yes.
and all the marketing efforts, I think to reach out to the business community that we all can continue to do as folks are starting to return to the office. They don't want to get monthly parking passes, take the bus instead. There's a lot of things we can keep working on in that space. So that's what we got to see, that ridership taken off, and we have a great service to offer. So,
and our service quality, Blake mentioned it earlier, has been improving, and you'll see a huge improvement this month.
All right. Thank you, Daryl. Any other questions? any other new business anyone would like to bring up?
I do have one question. I'm curious. When we do a week worth of free fares, how is that captured in our P&L, or how is that covered financially?
You will see an increase in ridership and a decrease in fare revenue,
So it costs
about $145,000
for the 5 days.
for the 5 days.
Is
Right, so
that
it's about-
subsidized through our operations, or is that subsidized through the government, or how is that?
That's a choice we made.
Okay,
That's correct.
okay, cool.
But
All
the
right, I have
idea,
to-
what we know, Rod, is the investment. If you get somebody to ride the bus 5 times, their likelihood of being an ongoing rider and the annuity from that is greatly enhanced. We were talking earlier today about, remember we had, when Blink happened a couple of years ago, and we had so many people using the bus because there was no place to park downtown. We did see a big upshoot in ridership right after that. So after we had tons of momentum going on, and of course, the COVID hit, which was bad. I've asked Daryl to get rid of COVID this year, but so getting people on the bus really helps, because there's this odd nervousness about, I don't know how to do it, right? And so once folks do it, they can do. So the intent is that's an investment in gaining ridership.
Yeah, this is an investment in ourselves, Rod, and we are out in the community everywhere, encouraging people to take the bus, helping them learn how to take the bus. Next month, in planning and ops, we'll be talking about the success of this program.
Okay, thank you. I need to jump off, but thank you for answering that.
All right, thanks, Rod. Any other new business anybody wants to bring up? Okay, well, the clock on the wall says it's 5 to 9, so. Time to wrap up. All right, thanks, everyone. I know the meetings set up this way aren't perfect, and so we will continue to work. I know we're working on getting the boardroom here that would let us do these a little bit more effectively, so
Yes,
look forward to that as well.
me too.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
I move we adjourn. There you go. Thanks.
I want to apologize to you guys for this.